Overseas now, as tensions escalate with the war in Ukraine, some of Europe's biggest political heavyweights signed a joint statement today calling for peace in that country. The statement comes ahead of a crucial planned meeting between Russian President Putin and U.S. President Trump. Now, the leaders of France, Italy, Germany, the UK and the European Union and others say only a combination of active diplomacy and military support for Ukraine will be enough to pressure Russia to end the war. The leaders said that, quote, Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine is a violation of the UN Charter. Trump and Putin are set to meet in Alaska next Friday in what could be a vital meeting after more than 3 years of Russia's war on Ukraine. Let's now invite Jeremy Kinsman, former Canadian ambassador to Russia and the UK. Jeremy, good evening and thank you for your time. It's great to see you again.
Nice to see you again, Akshay.
So as work begins on this Trump-Putin meet in Alaska on August 15th, several leaders of Europe, France, Germany, Italy, among others, also the UK, releasing a firm and a strongly worded joint statement today. Your reaction to that statement, Jeremy, that says, and let me quote here a little bit for our viewers, "We welcome President Trump's work to stop the killing in Ukraine, to end Russia's war of aggression." But it also goes on to say, Ukraine has the freedom of choice over its own destiny. The path to peace in Ukraine cannot be decided without Ukraine. We remain committed to the principle that international borders must not be changed by force. Your analysis on the ongoing discussions and tensions.
Well, obviously, Akshay, they're saying what Canada and those countries, and until recently the United States, had been saying as being the fundamental positions of, I'll call it, the developed free world vis-a-vis Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So it's nothing new. But what they're doing is reinforcing the fact that they're not going to be very happy if Trump tries to step away from that, which he is doing. I mean, in arranging this visit in Alaska, which is kind of melodramatic because, of course, as we know, it used to be part of Imperial Russia, he's inviting the leader of Russia, who is under indictment from the ICC, the criminal court in The Hague, and all countries, all NATO countries, have said that they would not have him in their countries. So Trump is giving something to Putin here that he dearly wants. Putin is seeking a form of impunity for this invasion of Ukraine, which we all decried as being, an act of war and contradicting the most basic sort of norms of the post-Second World War world that we agreed to. And so he's coming in getting quite a lot. Putin, Akshay, ever since, I was there in Russia, he's always been a guy who has been obsessed with making Russia great again.
Right.
Russia, the Soviet Union, had a peer-on-peer relationship with the United States. They were the two superpowers. Right. They were the big guys. And he's getting a bit of that back. And that's a big, big thing for him. Yeah. As for Ukraine, I mean, there's no changing the basic rules, as this statement says. There should be no discussion of Ukraine without Ukraine, obviously. And Ukraine has a constitutional prohibition on conceding territory. And Trump is already saying there should be some swapping of territories. So he's way ahead on his skis from the rest of us. Now, maybe it'll work. I don't know. I think the basic point of Zelensky, there can't be any talks unless Russia actually agrees to a ceasefire first.
To that point, Jeremy, sorry for interrupting, but when you say that may work, the fact that Trump is suggesting, as he said, there may be, quote, swapping of territory, that's an option. We know that Zelensky is averse to it. This statement has come out that is saying that there cannot be any change to international borders by force. So I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think then might be the outcome of this Trump-Putin summit when Europe, Ukraine, the UK, nobody is for this, quote, swapping territory option?
When you do this kind of negotiations, you really have to start with looking at what are the very basic primary interests of the two parties concerned.
Right.
What can they not live without? And I'm not sure of what Russia's are. I fear that Putin is playing Trump again, just looking like he's talking so as to avoid sanctions, further sanctions, particularly secondary sanctions on oil. The Russian economy isn't great. I mean, oil pays for 1/3 of the Russian budget. They're not doing great. And so he is. I fear he may be trying to string him along.
Right.
But we'll see. It only works if Trump is tough on Russia.
Right. And my last question to you, Jeremy. We know that there was Crimea 2014. 2022, this war began. My question being, can one really guarantee long-term peace when dealing with Russia? You did mention about the intention of Vladimir Putin now.
Well, long-term peace, it used to be that you signed treaties and that was that. That was what you decided together, and it was meant to be. I mean, I don't think you can trust Putin's word, and that's a very real problem, and it's a very real problem for the Ukrainians because they know that they need security guarantees, and they need the United States to back those up, precisely because of the implication of your question. Right. No, you can't trust the written outcome.
Okay, we'll have to leave it at that for tonight, but it's always a pleasure. Jeremy Kinsman, former Canadian ambassador to Russia and the UK. Jeremy, thank you.
Nice to see you.